been a superstar in Europe for the past couple of years. We expect him to have such high performances, right? Day in and day out.
Is not something they want to play against them here. We know they've scrimmed a little bit, so that could be part of it. They might have just got railed on that particular map. But
probably did.
Here we go. Stage 2, Division A underway. Red Reserve, Epsilon. For Red, looking to prove they are the top team in the game with a new addition of Scraps. And for Epsilon, showing they can compete throughout this next month.
No, definitely so. When we look at the meta so far, it's looking like 3 subs on St. Marie Dumont rated there. He's able to find through with the bar. That's a great start for him. But there's Dave, that new sub. He's going to get traded out and pretty much is back and forth trading. But I mean, Red Reserve, they have early control.
Well, I know a conversation you and I had a lot is after this meta shift, and we saw it get back to, God, similar to like Dallas, right? Like a lot of 2 ARs. How long would it take till maybe we saw 3 subs back in? And talking to the Epsilon guys, they said it's already starting to happen. Like, they've been running 3 subs in a lot more maps. You won't necessarily see 2 bars coming out everywhere, but I think at least for the first couple of weeks, Joe, it's going to be team dependent. Like, we're going to see a lot of different comps, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely so. I think Valkyrie will stay consistent 3 subs.
Yeah.
The big questions will probably be London, Dawson, St. Marie, because that's where we saw 3 subs have a lot of impact. For the most part, Gibraltar on Enforced have been 2 AR, 2 subs. And you can see right there, Reedy, he's got infantry bar. Doesn't have a scope on. He's got that iron sight, but you can see he's got a long barrel. He's got a bayonet, or he doesn't have long barrel. He has a bayonet and extended mags.
We'll see what he's able to do with that, but nice lead here opening up the game for Red Reserve. Epsilon, though, going to be set up inside of the winery lot. Joe, though, here he comes trying to make the play. Talked about the fact that he's going to be that secondary AR. Right now, though, it's going to be PPSH in hand. Next guy in, that's a kill you got to trade.
No, definitely so. Zero loses that one out to Dave. Dave able to find 2. Rated, though, in a great position. The Epsilon guys, they have to get pushed out. There's Vortex, 7 and 4. Great start from him. But Joe responds right away with 2 of his own. He's such a good SMG player. That's what we talked about, why the medics are sort of that role switch can be a bit odd, because Joe's been that guy for Red Reserve for a very long time.
It'll be interesting to see the differences, because right now you have 2 ARs on Epsilon, although Reedy right now with that stacked bar can kind of operate like a sub in some ways, but you do see on the other end of it 3 subs out for Red Reserve. So we'll have to see throughout the course of this game maybe where players start to find an edge with a little bit of the difference there between the 2 compositions. And it's nice though, because we don't see different comps that often, at least before what, the first 6 months of this year.
Exactly, that Epsilon, you can see they're trying to break this hill. They're going to try and push through this back stable, but Zero's here. He's able to find 1, and every single time they get a kill, you see 3 go down. Look how far Epsilon spawns out. Hockey has to try and find a kill, not able to do so. That'll slow down the Epsilon push. Such a great job by Red Reserve to get pushed out. That's why you have a guy like Scraps get picked up on this roster.
And, you know, when I talked to Maddie, I talked to Scraps about, you know, him maybe not being the secondary AR when we know how strong he can be in that role. Most of his career has been an AR in hand. He said, no, they brought me on this team to be that aggressive, dominant sub, and that's what I'm going to do. He's 10 and 4 right now on a 4 streak, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he just wants to prove himself, right? Like, this is the first time that he's gotten onto a Tier 1 EU team, right? Splice and Red Reserve have really been those 2 teams in Europe, the top 2, always fighting back and forth. Scraps was never on those rosters, right? Scraps was never there. He's went on teams like Unilad, teams like Fnatic, trying to get picked up. Finally does. This is a huge opportunity for him, because if he doesn't take advantage of it, well, then the Scraps experiment doesn't work out. Maybe he never gets another shot like this.
That's very true. We'll see what he can continue to do. Leading the way on the other side is going to be Vortex. Now, we talked about Reedy maybe with some added pressure, going to be that flex player on this team. Now, he's struggling at 2 and 10. Now, we've seen him with the bar in hand. The other side, he's been going up against 3 subs. Do you think maybe that's part of the reason you see the struggles? How do you see it?
I mean, yeah, it's obviously tough. 3 and 11. If you're going to run a secondary AR, you should be picking up kills at least. Maybe you'll be a bit slower, but the kills should come easier. But the subs of Red Reserve are just getting pushed out, where it's making it too hard. And you can see there's Scraps able to find 3 once again. 16 and 7 on a 5 spree, getting very close to some streaks himself. And this is the potential of this pickup, right? This is exactly what they wanted.
Exactly. This is what you expect the power of this team to be when you add that extra slaying prowess that you get from Scraps. And right now, close to streaks. We'll see if he's able to pick him up. The call is going to come in. He's getting hit from top and the backside. He challenges the top, able to win the gunfight. And now very, very close to full streaks. Just 75 off that fighter pilot. Just looking for the opening to tack on more, but man, he's dominating right now.
Oh, he definitely is. If you look at the rest of the scoreboard, well, he finds 2 more. Rated finds 2. You have Joe at 13 and 9. You have Rated 11 and 9. I mean, 0, 6 and 9 just hanging out. You know, they're winning by 80 points. He's just having a solid game, doing what he needs to do. Scraps, though, wants to show off a little bit, right?
Yeah.
His first game under Red Reserve.
Welcome back to the CWL Pro League. Welcome to Red Reserve. Scraps putting on a show, but it's Dave, the other new sub on the side of Epsilon, that's able to win that gunfight and finally slow down the monster streak. But right behind him is Rated. Rated had 6 in a row, and he got a couple of streaks to go there. So now you've got, what, 5 streaks on the side of Red. That's gonna, you already have a 100+ point advantage. And
they know where Reedy is as well. You can see they're all hunting for him. Reedy, though, he's gonna cut back towards Wine. Rated trying to find him, but Reedy, I mean, he gives up those spawns. No, the streaks were in, so now he has to try and break with his team. You can still see Hockey, he has a bar. Reedy still has one as well. And, well, that's a gunfight you have to win. You have to win those fights.
When you see 3 subs on their side and he's still got this bar out, do you start to consider maybe pulling out a sub if you're Reedy?
I think when you're 3-11, you probably start to consider it. Just not a good game from him. I mean, the side of Hockey, the other AR, not a terrible game at 10-13, but they are just getting blown out of the water. There's Joe able to find 2 more, and look how far they get pushed out. Look where Epsilon is spawning. I mean, Red Reserve is just controlling every aspect of this game.
And that is what makes this Red Reserve team so dangerous, too, because we know what Joe can do with a sub in hand. If he's going to be making plays with the AR on other maps as well, if he's going to be a maybe much more dominant flex than we expected, wow, this Red team is going to be terrifying.
Now, we have to say it, though, right? Not very high expectations for Epsilon, right? Like, I'd love to see Red Reserve versus, I guess, any other of the teams in the division.
It's a Red warm-up to kick off.
It definitely is. Like, this is a warm-up game for them, but they want to prove a point. Joe, he's earning some streaks himself.
This is a slaughter, Joe.
Yes, it is. Streaks are going to be called in. They're going to try and finish it on this parking lot hill. And, I mean, besides that second hill of the game, Winery, where Epsilon controlled it, they only have 30 points since that moment.
You had an 8 streak from Scraps, 8 in a row now for Joe. Rated popped off with 6 earlier as well. The slang, so lopsided. The scoreline reflects that. The final ticks are in, and Red blows Epsilon off the map in game 1.